Hi, all my art students. I am about to do the first art tutorial for online students. And the topic will be about grayscale value or color values. So that means basically I'm teaching you how to shade, how to use just with a simple pencil. How can you draw really light areas and medium areas and dark? Actually, behind me is a nice little example here. These two art pieces, you can see basically it's black and white. And I would say the lightest area here is this one. And guess what? It's not white. There's a lot of gray shades in there. This is gray. And the darkest area I can see in here is maybe right here, this shadow. I'm a little bit up there. But this is really the darkest. It's like black. It looks like black. But there's a lot of shades in between. So this is like a gray scale from 1 to 7, about 7 different grays. However, today I'd like to teach you just 3 different values, 3 different shades, and let's get started. Okay, so what we need first is a pencil. That's all we really need, a pencil and paper, preferably a 2B pencil. The first thing I want you to draw is a rectangle, pretty long one, but it doesn't need to be huge. Okay, so I would say this is like about, I don't know, 4 inches, 5 inches wide and 1.5 inch height. Now I want you to divide this rectangle into 3 even pieces, about, I think it's, oh well, that's not quite even. Well, about. Good. Let's get started. The first thing I'd like to show you is how to use this pencil in different ways. So first, I want you to try and hold it this way and barely touch the paper. Look how light the shade is that I've created. That's a gray shade, but very light. I'm going to do the same thing now, but I'm going to put a bit more pressure on it. Boom, and it already looks quite a bit darker than this one. Third one, I still hold the pencil like this, but I put yet more pressure on the pencil. And there I have it, already 3 different color values. Now, your job and your assignment is to fill these boxes from left to right. The lightest value here where the paper stays almost completely white, then a medium gray, and then a dark gray. Let's get started. Now, when you filled the box pretty evenly, I'd like you to use your finger. You see that I've already been smudging. I want you to use your finger for smudging. It's not really hard. You just need to smudge over it and see how nice it smoothens out. You don't even see one single pencil stroke anymore. Okay, let's move on to our middle gray shade. I start again really light, touching the paper light, just putting slightly more pressure on it. What's important is make sure there's no more paper visible. I don't want to see any white anywhere within this square here. No white paper allowed. Now I'm going to smudge it. Let's see. I want you to ask yourself the questions when you get to this point. Can you see a clear difference between this and this square? Is this lighter than this one, and is this darker, and is it a clear difference? Not too strong, not too little, but just right. And I feel like this looks pretty good. Let's move on to the next square.
Now, I'm decided to not go really hard right away with my pencil, but I'm going to go, well, not light, but I don't put my hardest pressure on it. A bit more than I did in this square. Alright, I feel like that's pretty good. I don't see any white spaces anywhere. It's pretty evenly the same gray shade or darker shade, and now I'm going to smudge it. Good, so now I'm asking myself again, can I see a clear difference between the gray here and the gray there? And my answer is yes, I can. I can clearly see this is a very light gray, this is the medium gray right between those two, and this is a nice dark gray.
Okay, so we can label our grayscale here now. This is number 1, number 2, and number 3. And it's called a gray value scale. I'll explain to you in the next lesson why this gray value scale is so important and why it's so important to practice it like this first before you go on your next art piece. All right, I'll see you next time.